It's the other side. Zoom episode number 5, and I got my guy, my brother, Blood Hermano, however you want to say it, my guy, Jalen Kelly. How you doing, brother?
Salutations.
Hey, man, first and foremost, I want to tell you thank you for giving me your time. I know that you're a busy dude, but first question I want to ask you is how's the family? How's everybody doing during these times?
Family is great right now. Everybody is keeping a distance, you know what I'm saying, trying to stay clean and trying to stay to themselves right now in this pandemic we got going on. So everybody's good right now. Everything's copacetic.
And that's
What about
good.
yours?
Man, everything is good, man. Mom's is doing well. She in the trenches in the hospital, of course, but she doing the thing, staying safe. God taking care of us. Pops is doing good, everybody, man. So appreciate you for asking. But man, the first thing that another question I want to ask you is, what have you learned about yourself during these times of quarantine? I know that we've gotten back to like regular life and regular ways of living, but when everything was kind of like blocked off and we weren't able to do regular stuff, what did you learn about yourself during those times?
It's crazy. Like I've in this time I've went back into that mode of finding new ways to express myself as far as my music. I found ways to just harness new things to be inspired by. Like I'm going back and listening to old music, and it's bringing me back to times of my childhood when I fell in love with music. And I feel like because we're in this quarantine and everybody's at the house, it's more substance is coming back to hip hop as a whole. Like you have Lil Baby dropping songs that are conscious and more directed towards the things that are going on in the world, and people want to have deeper conversations nowadays because they have more time on their hands and people want to dig deep into stuff. So it's kind of made me reflect on myself and just go back to that space of trying to make people think, you know what I'm saying, again. So I really appreciate that, you know what I'm saying, in these times.
It's funny that you say that too about finding new things that kind of inspire you and things of that nature, man. Because when quarantine kind of first started and COVID really took off, I remember I started going back and I started doing deep dives on not just old music, but old art in general, right? Like older classic movies, classic TV shows. And it was funny because I would watch some of the shows and like you would hear some of the music and they would pull certain scenes from these shows and music and put them in the raps. And then you go back and watch the shows, you're like, wait a minute, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Like that kind of makes you go back and think, oh, so like this cat was influenced by this TV show or this character in the TV show. And that's the thing about you artists, man. Like you all are really unique as far as what you pull inspiration from. To me, it's some of the craziest things, things that I wouldn't necessarily normally even think to pull inspiration from or be inspired from. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So tell me this, man. I always talk about you and the fact that, like, I remember the first time I remember seeing you really truly spit. We was in 7th grade. We were on the bus, right? And then you were just freestyling. And then it was kind of almost like throw me a topic and I'll freestyle about that joint, right? And I remember I was like, bro, this is crazy. And I remember the topic I even gave you, bro. I was just like rap about money. For some reason, it was the first thing that came to my mind. But for you specifically, when was the first time you realized, oh, I'm nice with this and I want to start rapping?
Actually, it was one of those things where when I was little, I always loved music, and it's very typical of anybody who's in the arts. But I even wanted to be a rapper or a basketball player because I love basketball and I love music. So it was kind of one of those things, like I was just trying to do either or, but I love both of them. But I started off, music was just one of those things that stuck with me the whole time. As a kid, because my dad and my mom were heavily into the music thing. So it was only natural for me to elevate to that point where I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. I remember, I think it was a summer camp that I went to, and we were just freestyling at the lunch table or something. And I was just rapping. That was just what I like to do. I just like to rap, and I was rapping I think it was to a Nas Made You Look instrumental, and I was just rapping and I was just feeling it, and people they was nodding their heads, and I always love that reaction from somebody listening to you and picking up lines that you say or bars that you say, the metaphors that you say. I always look for that reaction. So that's everything I was trying to get, and I fed off that, and that made me really want to do it and just rap. Like every time I could get the chance to, I would just want to rap and just, what I'm saying, get that reaction from people, and that's what I fed off of. That what made me want to keep doing it, And it went into high school that I really dove into making music. So yeah.
It's funny when you talk about that whole, you like that feeling that you get whenever you're rapping and people are just like nodding their head and like intensively looking at you, trying to pick up on what you're saying. To me, it's almost like I kind of got like a little bit of power. You know what I mean? Like to the sense where like not necessarily controlling somebody, but like you're so intrigued with what I got to say that like it almost kind of gives me like yeah, like I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like if that makes sense.
Right. It was like that. It's always been like that. For me, it was just knowing that, wow, something I'm creating is igniting this reaction, igniting this type of response, and in a sense, I was like, wow, somebody is vibing to something that I created, like I was vibing to artists that I fell in love with and I grew up on. So it kind of made me live vicariously through myself, through other people, in a sense, because it was like, okay, they're really vibing with what I'm saying, and when I started going to the music aspect of it, even past just rapping, that's when it started to really connect, because now it's like when I get in the car and I'm in a mood, or I want to listen to this type of vibe or this type of vibe, or I'm about to go to a party and I want to turn up, or what I'm saying, I'm with my girl or something or anything, like to be able to make music that can go with that mood. To,
Mm.
like for me to create something like that was an accomplishment for me, because I know that when I'm in the car and I'm DJing, like I love that, to find music that's relative to what I'm feeling at the moment. So to be able to do that for somebody else is a blessing in itself.
At what point did you realize like, okay, I got to start transitioning as far as those different type of feelings that I'm trying to create and trying to get out of my music, right? So like, at what point was it like, okay, I know I got the bars. Now I need to start making something for the chicks. Now I need to start making something for the turn up. Now I need to start making something for like the more introspective hours. You know what I'm saying? Like when did that kind of come into fruition for you?
Bro, I've had days where I've reflected on that question itself, because I remember when it happened. I wasn't until I started living through my music that I started to develop that theme of it, that aspect of it. It wasn't until I started going through scenarios, instead of just rapping about it, actually going through those incidents in my life and reflecting on them, and giving my perspective going through it, and giving my perspective on getting through it, and then going back and, okay, so let me look at it from their perspective, or let
Mm.
me look at it from her perspective. Let me look at it from her perspective. Like, so it wasn't until I got to college and I started actually traveling, and I started actually doing these shows, doing these music videos, making these records, going to Cali, going to New York, going to Houston, going all these places, and going through all of these relationships and downfalls and triumphs and stuff. All these things really played a part in me being able to make music, because I feel like you gravitate to something that you can relate to, and relatability comes from experience. Being able to paint a picture that someone else can look at and be like, wow, he's painting what's going on in my life. To be able to do that, you actually have to go through that and actually feel that, like, that's why people relate to Drake so much, man, when it comes to females, man, like, because he'll say something and literally this is why Take Care shaped how I viewed, relationships, because Drake dropped Take Care and it changed my whole outlook on it, because the stuff he was saying was like I felt like, wow, how does he know that I'm going through this? And he was, like, Drake, what I'm saying? Like, Drake will say stuff like, yo, man, what did he say? That man said, he said, I can't solve your problems. You said your problems never needed solving. I was too good till you should have stayed silent. Nice guys always finish off where they started.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is like, yo, like, to be in that mental space and actually be going through a situation with a female and actually having to go through that.
Yeah.
To say it like that and actually relate to something, that's beautiful to me. And that's what I look to make music, to relate.
So first off, like, when it comes to Drake, man, me and you share this same type of admiration when it comes to Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we grew up on that together, right? And it's a very, very accurate statement about how he's in that mental space. But more than just being able to say it, it's also how you say it. You know what I mean? Which is also equally, if not more important. For you, bro, was there ever a moment where you were like hesitant to be too honest and too transparent on a record? Or have you always just been like, yo, if it's in me, I got to get it out and put it on there?
And that's another thing for me. It was because before you had people like Drake and Cole and people like, and Kendrick too, that would actually are very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very vulnerable with their music. Mm-hmm. In the new age, I'll say, it wasn't a lot of artists who were doing that, especially with Drake, because with Drake, with female, like, people were making memes about Drake. Drake had to go through all that, what I'm saying, all that slander, all the jokes, for being open and honest. But that's what people relate to, that because that's how they feel inside. But maybe they can't say it, they don't want to say it because they feel like they're going to be judged. And I feel like J. Cole is the same way, when he did a song like Let Nas Down, to me, that's him being vulnerable and being able to be like, yo, I did work out and I said this and that, what I'm saying, because I needed to get to this next level. But Nas has always been my favorite artist, and I felt like I let Nas down doing that because he said he didn't like the record. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's him being vulnerable. Like, that type of stuff made it all right for people to be like, okay, you know what? I don't care what nobody says. I'm going to be vulnerable. Like, what I'm saying? And those are the people that usually end up hitting that next level. You know what I'm saying? That's why people love Pop. You know what I'm saying? That's why people love Kendrick too. Because To Pimp a Butterfly was all vulnerable emotion, raw energy, and like, I feel like when you give yourself to the music like that, people are able to appreciate it much more.
I feel like using the term vulnerability is probably a more sensitive way of just saying being open and honest, because typically whenever you say vulnerability, you're probably attaching it to like being more emotional, right? But and the reason why I bring that up is because in the midst of me reading the Jay-Z Decoded book, which is absolutely phenomenal, he talked about how what makes rap is the fact that people always have been speaking some sort of truth, right? Mm-hmm. Now, your truth may differ. You may have a Public Enemy truth. You may have an NWA truth, a Run DMC truth, a Big truth, a Pac truth. Then you may go to like a whole Tribe Called Quest truth, a Lauryn Hill truth, an Outkast truth. You see what I'm saying? But that truth to me has evolved to now us being more vulnerable, or you could say sensitive or emotional. You know what I mean? But these are all emotions that we've always felt. It just seems to me like Drake was the guy who made it acceptable. Because first, just like you said, everybody mocked him. Everybody laughed at him. Then they stepped back and said, okay, well, I like it. Then you start appreciating it. And then finally, it all comes full circle. Then you start to emulate it or imitate it more so. You know what I mean? And so that's what he's created. And I love it. You know what I mean? Because it is it's still a new version of the truth, which again is what hip hop has been rooted on.
Everybody has their own truth. Just like you said, everybody has their own story. It's just about, are you willing to go to that? Are you willing to give your all to your music and not care about anybody else's opinion on it? You know, are you confident in yourself as a person, not as an artist, as a person, to do that and be like, I don't care if you judge me, you know? Are you that
time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we love ASAP. His confidence is through the roof. His confidence, like everybody, a lot of people don't have confidence like ASAP. You know what I'm saying? And to have that type of confidence, it takes a certain type of individual, you know what I'm saying? So it's just about, are you confident in yourself and are you that confident in your music, you know?
At what level did you truly begin to feel uber confident about you as a person, as well as the content that you were starting to create and distribute to the masses?
It was when I was starting to make music that affected people in a way where I remember I dropped a song on SoundCloud. It was called Faith. I took it down, but when I dropped it, somebody, I just deleted it. I thought nobody would notice it, but somebody had emailed me and they were like, bro, like that got me through so many different situations listening to that song, and I just wanted to know where that song is, like now, you know what I'm saying? So that was one of the memories that come to mind to me right now, that I started to be like, okay, wow, like it's really, my music is really having an impact on somebody. And there's no telling who all else my music has had an impact, you know what I'm saying, too. When I started getting more confident, like when I started getting like that confidence in it, was when I would just throw in songs in the car, you know, like DJing, and just slip in my song just real quick, and people like, yo, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And what is this? Like everybody is in a vibe and they're like, yo, this is hard right here, you know what I'm saying? And then I get to absorb that energy, you know what I'm saying? And then acknowledge the fact that, yo, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So two things that I actually want to touch on that you talked about, which really, really intrigued me. The first one is going back to the guy who talked about the song Faith and how it really got him through a hard time, or just through times in general. Man, what does that ever mean to an artist? Like when somebody comes up to you and says, yo, like this piece of art that you created, that you put your time, energy, and effort to, really, really transformed me or helped me or got me through, or, you know what I mean? Like took me from sad to happy. You know what I mean? Like, what does that really truly mean to an artist?
It means everything to me, because it means that I have a responsibility now. You know, I have a responsibility, and I don't want to say it's a pressure, but it's kind of like, just you as an artist have to be aware now when you make music, it's not just affecting you anymore. It's not just one of those things that you just do just to have something to play. Now it's like people are looking for you for music. They're looking for you to get them through any type of situation they're going through, or not even a situation. Maybe they're looking for you to create a vibe that they can really attach to and gravitate to. So to me, it just means, okay, you're doing well. Now keep doing what you're doing and take it to that next level.
Keep doing what you're doing and take it to the next level. Hold on to that, because I want to talk, which I'm definitely going to rap with you about, because I could not wait to talk about your evolvement, right? Something
right.
that we'll definitely touch on. But then going back to when you were talking about when you like to slip in one of your songs, like in the like on the aux when there's a bunch of people around. Man, have you ever done something like that, and then like maybe you're nervous thinking, man, like I hope that they really truly rock with it, you know what I mean? Or are you just like sitting there knowing like this is dope music regardless?
I like now I I am like, man, like I know this is hard, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like confident like in my music to the point where I'm like, man, bro, like this flows like this, like my music is supposed to be right here. Like if a DJ is at the club right now and DJing, like if you slip my song in there, that's like it's supposed to fit like that, you know what I'm saying? So there was a time before though where I was like, man, I don't know if they're gonna like this. I don't know if this is gonna be, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is on the mark. I don't know if this is like, you know what I'm saying, hard or not. So it was a time where I was nervous about it, but you know, it came with me being able to be confident in myself as an artist and just being like, man, like, bro, if you know you dope, like, bro, it don't matter what nobody say.
That's facts. So I do want to take it back to something that you mentioned earlier. You mentioned how some of your favorite artists, right? Well, I heard you mentioned Nas.
Yeah.
Man, tell me about the impact that some of these guys had on you in your career, and just the level of influence that they had on you when you were really starting to really like get into rap and be like, yo, I think I really want to do this.
It was probably no lie, like Nas was one of the first people. Well, it actually was Wu-Tang that I actually heard when I was little, because that's all that my dad and mom were listening to. Because Cuban 36 Chambers had just dropped. I think 36 Chambers had just dropped, or it was Built for Cuban Links. It was one of the two. But Nas was just one of them artists that really shaped. When I said before about how I want to make people think again, it really shaped that concept, because Nas has the type of music that I go back to now and I still catch new things, you know. And for me, Nas is the best rapper, period. He's my favorite rapper ever. Like he did so much for me growing up, because he shaped how I looked at life. He shaped how I came up with music. I had a room. I don't know if you came over when I had a room like this, but like when I was with my mom, and I think it was in middle school, high school era, before I got my room switched around, I used to cut up magazines and put them on the wall of all these type of artists. Like I had Jay-Z, I had Nas, I had Biggie, I had Pac, I had AZ, I had Method Man, Wu-Tang, Tribe Called Quest, all these people. And I had Nas, I had Illmatic on the back wall, you know, and then I had lyrics of Nas. I remember it was what lyrics was it? It was from Lights to Be on Illmatic. He said the lyric was, the buck that bought a bottle could have struck the lotto. And that was on my wall, bro.
Yeah, that's hard. Okay, yeah.
When Cole said it like on Let Nas Down, like he used to do stuff like that too. And so like that made me relate to Cole, because I'm like, dang, like I am doing that. Like and that lyric itself really stuck with me too, because it was just like thinking like, wow, like in the grand scheme of things, a decision that you make in your life can determine the next course or the next couple years in your life. It just like any decision that you make can determine what you do for the rest of your life. You know, like if I decided to go outside, you know what I'm saying, something could happen that triggers something else, you know what I'm saying? And that's just the kind of thought process that I was like, wow, like that's a dope concept and that's an ill way to put it. So Nas has and forever will be one of the artists that will stay on my playlist, will stay, you know what I'm saying, in my head when I'm making music, you know.
Man, I make sure to never not give you credit, to the point where I always got to make sure you are the reason why I got hip to guys like Nas, right? And like Wu and like Raekwon and like Hove and all these certain type of dudes, right? There was a song that I came across, speaking of Nas, it was I Gave You Power. And I just came across this maybe like a month or two ago. And he literally told a story, arguably one of the best storytellers in the game of rap, if not the best, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Told the story from the perspective of a gun
Yeah.
and what the gun has to go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just listening to that, bro. Bro, I swear I was just listening to It Was Written literally like 2 days ago, bro. Like I was listening to the whole album, bro. And yeah, I Gave You Power was definitely, because people slept on It Was Written for whatever reason. They slept on that album because it came out the Illmatic. But I feel like It Was Written is one of Nas's best albums. Like that album was from front to back, like that was just crazy. Like, come on, bro.
I feel like you could honestly, and this may not sound popular, you could make the argument it's better than Illmatic.
Bro,
I feel like you could.
Bro, you remember when we used to compare albums, bro? We used to be like, bro, like put this song against this song, bro. Like, all right, so shoot, you have Blueprint, like, come on, bro. You trying to put Heart of the City against, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. But like, yeah, like you could. It Was Written is just one of them albums where it was behind Illmatic and people weren't ready for It Was Written, but from top to bottom, it's a classic album. From top to bottom, If I Rule the World, I Gave You Power, The Message, Street Dreams. Like he was
Black Girl Lost.
Other bag. The Black Girl Lost, bro. Like he was in a whole other bag, bro. Like a whole other bag.
Look, man, it's really telling, man, about you talking about the fact that you, somebody who's a student of the game, that you can go back and still catch new things that he spits, man. How important is that even for you? Because and the reason why I ask is because during the whole Black Lives Matter, like at its peak when everything was really hot and about to combust, I remember somebody tweeted Punch from TDE and they asked like what's up with the Kendrick album? He said, like, y'all don't appreciate it. What's the point? And to a certain point, he's correct. Because even a guy like Nas, Jay, has never got his credit fully. I really like when it comes to mainstream rap listeners, right? Obviously, diehard hip hop heads understand and acknowledge and love what Nas brings to the table. Same with Kendrick. But obviously, you look at mainstream, it's never really been kind to guys like that, right? Even guys you have to actively listen to, right? Maybe you need to have the lyrics up, but you got to spin the album back 3-4 times in a row to really catch the art and the message and like what he's trying to say. So I know it's a long-winded question, but I'm asking you, like, what do you like? How do you feel about putting that much emphasis into the lyrics to where maybe somebody could come back 5-10 years later and say, dang, bro, I listened to that song 100 times and on the 101st listen, I caught something different. Like, what does that mean to you? And how hard is that to really trying to get?
To me, it means everything. And it goes back to what I was saying before, you know, in this quarantine, we've really moved towards substance now because everybody has so much time on their hands now. And now it's making a shift. It's a shift in the culture. It's a shift in the world because now, in order for you to last, you have to have those meat and potatoes for people to hold on to. And that's why, but music's always been like that. That's why people like Jay-Z last all this time. That's why people like Nas last this long. That's why people like T.I., Wayne have lasted this long. That's why these type of people have lasted. That's why Cole, Drake, and Kendrick are the pillars of the new school. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're lasting as long as they are, because of that substance, you know? What are you really talking about? Let me try to break down what you're trying to say so that I can figure out what you're trying to say. And that's why people look up to these type of artists, and that's why they're lasting so long. It's difficult to do only if, like my mom used to say, it's not a job if you don't look at it like a job. So for me, if you love something enough, it's not a job. It doesn't feel like a job because you love doing it. So it's just about making people think again, making people like hold on to a concept, bro. Don't you know, bro? I went back and listened to I Got a Story to Tell by Biggie on Life After Death.
Mm.
And the whole time I was listening to it, I used to listen to it all the time, but like listening to it now, I didn't even realize the story, like that you know what I'm saying? He was really with a girl who was with the basketball player, you know what I'm saying? And he talking about her cheating on dude with Biggie, and dude coming in the house, and then he putting on the ski mask, robs dude, and then leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was a true story, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so it just hit me differently now because I'm like, man, wow. Like, think about if somebody dropped that now. Like, if just think about J. Cole dropping. Just think about, no, actually, not even J. Cole. Think about Biggie dropping that now. Think about Biggie dropping a song talking about how he was smacking um Kevin Durant's girl, you know what I'm saying? She caught him. And then
That'd be wild.
like
Yeah.
that would be crazy, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
it would, yeah.
crazy. Like that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And even because I was talking to somebody else about how I felt like Blueprint was amazing. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like at the time I was like, but it's not the hardest Jay-Z album. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, what about Girls, Girls, Girls? Like that's not just the hardest Jay-Z song you ever heard. But then I went back and listened to it and I'm like, yo, that's really not just a regular type of love song. Like he's really describing every type of female that you could come across with, and then saying their different attributes. Like when I broke down the lyrics to that song, I was like, wow, this is actually more. There's actually more thought into this than I originally thought it was. You know what I'm saying? Like that song, that whole album is very well crafted, and that's what makes me want to come back to it.
Okay, so you are about to open up something where I cannot wait to get your perspective on it.
Yeah.
Saying the book again, but Jay specifically talked about people from the outside look at somebody who makes a commercial record and they think, well, that's easy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's nothing, man. You just got to make it catchy and make it a radio hit and you can get paid off of it. But he said, to be honest with you, one could even look at that and say that that's even harder because you like, especially with somebody of Jay's caliber, who to where you look at him and like you would say elite lyricist, right? And then you would say if he drops a record on the surface like Girls, 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 you think it's not really like that. You know what I mean? Like it's very easy to make a record like that. But then when you really sit back and think about it, you're like, okay, well he has to actually still kind of stay complex in a dumbed down version, but that's even harder because now you're still trying to tell a story, still trying to be lyrical, still trying to be complex, but you're trying to make that radio friendly. And it's not as easy as people think. He even said, to be honest with you, one could argue that that's harder because if you have the technical prowess, that's easy for you to get into the booth and just spit. But for you to kind of, go into that lane, and that's why I admire Kendrick so much because when he dropped Damn, one could argue that, it's his most poppy record, but each song, it was easier on the ears than To Pimp a Butterfly, but the meaning was still there. There was still a message. And in fact, people came out and said, oh, there's such a deep message that you could play the album in reverse and then you'll find out that's nuts to me, right? But like, is that to you harder trying to find like a club record or a radio record or do you find it to be easier?
I feel like it's like I said before, if you love what you're doing, it's not a job.
Gotcha.
If you really love music, it's not as hard as you make it seem. You just gotta. It's not hard as people make it seem. You just have to that's why the people who are able to make records and have actually have a meaning behind it and substance behind it. Those are the people who will last the longest.
Yeah.
You know. Kendrick, even like to Swimming Pools and Poetic Justice, like all those were very catchy, but it was a deeper meaning behind it. Like lately, I've been listening to Lupe Fiasco, and Lupe is another one of those guys who, at an early age, people like Jay-Z and Nas were giving him praise because he was like a breath of fresh air. And he was making records that were radio friendly, but they had so much density to them. You know, um, one of the ones that come to mind right now is Superstar.
Okay.
It's because when you really think about the record, it's about if getting into a club was like similar to getting into heaven, you know, and how would that be, you know what I'm saying, if you weren't on the guest list, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing where you're really challenging the mind, but it's still radio friendly. It's a double entendre in itself. And that's the beautiful thing, bro. So it's not as hard as people make it seem like. That's just the type of stuff I like to do. That's the type of stuff I like to do. That's the type of stuff I think is dope to me.
No question. So, speaking on all of that, speaking on the whole double entendre in itself, and trying to make people think, although at the same time trying to make sure that they do vibe out. Man, at what point did you start to realize, okay, it's time for me to evolve my sound? Because you did send me some tracks the other day and I was able to listen to them, and I told you, I said, man, I really feel like you're starting to turn a corner and evolving from, well, I tell you this last part, but I'm about to tell you now, I feel like you're evolving from a rapper now into an artist. You know what I mean? Somebody who can make great music, to the sense where it's not just about the traditional verses and the hook. Now I'm making great sounds. And you've been sprinkling that here and there, right? But now I feel like you're really starting to turn that corner, man. Like, talk to me about that whole process, man. And like, what's that been like? And am I way off? Am I way on track? Like, fill me in with that.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do every time. I'm trying to evolve and outdo what I did before. You know, I'm never trying to stay stagnant. I'm always trying to evolve. I'm an open book and I'm a sponge at the same time. You know, if you really dig deep into my music, I'm giving you everything. And also I'm a sponge. I'm soaking up game from people. I'm soaking up life, my life experiences, that I've gone through. I try to put into the music, like stuff that might not even have happened right now, but it's stuff that's happened to me throughout the course of everything. I try to put all that into my music. And it's just one of those things where I'm just trying to evolve. I'm even looking back on my old music and going back to that mind frame of, wow, like this is where my headspace was at the time when I was. And that's the type of stuff that I feel like I was looking at when I looked at people like Drake and Cole and Kendrick and Sean and all these people, Jay-Z, Nas, all of them, where I was like, wow, like where was I at when I was listening to Take Care? Or where was I at when I was listening to Good Kid, Mad City? Where was I at? What was I going through? Who was I with? Like what was going on? Where was I at? You know what I'm saying? What trip was I taking? You know? Like that is what I'm getting now. Like that's the type of stuff that I'm going back and listening to now, and I'm like, wow, that's where I was at in life, and now I'm here, and it's just one of the things where I just want to constantly evolve. I don't want to be stuck in a box. I don't want somebody to be like, you can't make this type of music, you can't make this sound, you can't do this type of sound, you do this type of music, so do this type. I've never tried to be that type of artist. I'm always an artist that wants to be able to freely do my art and freely be able to try different melodies and different beats and, try to break the boundaries, and show that I have a lot of versatility when it comes to this, man. And it just comes back to just loving what you do, and loving and being able to appreciate different things, like
True.
You can't say you don't like strawberries when you only eat apples.
Yeah.
You never tasted strawberries. You don't know what it tastes like. You know what I'm saying? So why not know what strawberries, pineapples, apples, watermelons taste like? You know what I'm saying? Why not know what all of them taste like so you can be able to, you know what I'm saying? Somebody asks you like, oh, so you like strawberry? Yeah, bro, I love strawberries. You know what I'm saying? I also love grapes. Have you tasted grapes? Like, you want to be able to be versatile with things. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the key to what I try to do myself.
I saw you post the other day when you were listening to some Amy Winehouse, and she's absolutely like phenomenal, right? And
R&B.
and whenever you listen to some of these rappers in interviews, some of the older heads, they talk about what it was like growing up. They say, "Yo, man, we used to like moms used to have Mike on. She used to have Prince. She used to have Marvin Gaye. She used to have Anita Baker. You know what I'm saying? All these different type of vibes that kind of help you. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be so locked in to where you only listen to this and everything is off limits, because then you can't pull from other things. You know, one of the more sampled people in hip hop was Otis Redding, and I wasn't truly familiar with Otis until I said, you know, I keep hearing this voice in like different people's sounds. I want to go back and listen to him. And I'm like, bruh, he's mad dope. This is like 60s music, you know what I'm saying? 50s, 60s music, but it sounds absolutely incredible. And that's the thing about great art, man, is that like it will stand the test of time. And it doesn't matter if you make it in the 50s. It doesn't matter if you make it in the 20s. It's great. And if you take your time with it, I really, truly feel like, man, that's lifelong, excuse me. That's going to stand the test of time. And it's going to be here for forever. And we're always vibing to it.
Yeah. Facts, bro. Facts. Like, I agree with that 1,000%, bro. I listen to Michael Jackson sometimes, and Off the Wall is still my favorite Michael Jackson album. Like, Off the Wall was just so energetic. Like, it was just one of those things. And if you really go back, Michael Jackson had short albums, bro. Thriller had like 9 songs, bro. And to like, if you really sit back and think about the fact that all those songs are like not even smashes. Those are like lifelong soundtracks to life.
Yeah.
Like, they put all that in one album, and he has so many other albums besides that. But the fact that people are still talking about that, there's a reason to that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why Biggie had 2 albums in his whole life when he was alive, and people are still talking about Biggie to this day.
Isn't that crazy, bro? Like, you would think Biggie has this like massive catalog.
Right.
2 albums and 1 posthumous album. That is nuts.
And just think about this, bro. Social media was wasn't even thought of at the time Biggie was dead. Yep. Like, Nipsey died, Pop Smoke died, X died, R.I.P. to all them, Juice WRLD died, and I feel like social media has a dope way of bringing everybody together in these type of scenarios where huge artists die and music brings everybody together, and we love these artists and we listen to them and all this. But Biggie and Pac died when there was no social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, the fact that they were still able to last this long and there was no social, like, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy to me, bro.
It's absolutely wild, man. And we still talk about them to this day. And we're going to talk about them until the end of time. You know what I mean? Funny thing about Nip too, man, is like, Nip means so much to me. I didn't really get hip to him a whole lot until I would say late college. No, once Victory Lap dropped, I listened to it.
Yeah.
And it just really hit home with me. You know what I mean? And it hurt when he passed, but just like you said, social media kind of helped bring things up. Pop Smoke too. I didn't really listen to Pop Smoke at all. I listened to this little album that just dropped this past weekend.
Yeah.
Pretty good, bro. I actually really liked it.
It was good.
Yeah, man. So I didn't really think I was going to rock with it like that. But and then, you know, Juice WRLD, obviously, just like you said, and then X. I was really big on X and all that type of stuff.
You're huge on X.
Man. Dude, honestly, I say this all the time, man. I remember my roommate was playing X one day, and then he was like, yeah, bro, I think that, you should check it out. And I was like, oh, is he one of them, like, and this is when I was stuck in my way, though, like, is he one of them dudes type stuff? He was like, yeah. I said, nah, bro, I'll pass. And one day, bro, I was in the whip with you, and you played Dollar Signs with Matt Ox.
Oh, yeah. That's my joint. That was my joint, bro.
Like, wait, hold on now. Like, it's kind of hard. And then I think that you transitioned to Sad. And I was like, oh, bro, this joint here is hard, bro.
Yeah.
It got me into X. I started digging deep into his catalog, and X was really unique to me, bro, because just like we were talking about dipping into different, artists and genres, he dipped far left and far right. He went to rock. He went to like heavy metal type stuff. You know what I'm saying? He went to like the blues, to sad, and he could also spit a little bit. On that song, Infinity with Joey.
With Joey? Bro, he could rap. X could rap. Like he could rap. So that's another reason why I loved X. And I loved him because he was one of those people who didn't care what you thought about him.
Facts. That's true. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, that's what people gravitate towards. A lot of people who can't say what they want to say gravitate to people who don't care what anybody thinks about what they say. You know what I'm saying?
It's a true statement. Even
to the point of even people who might be insecure, they gravitate to someone who isn't insecure. That's why people love Kanye.
Yeah.
That's why people love Kanye, bro. That's why people love A$AP Rock. That's why people love people like that, because they're so confident in themselves. And maybe if a person is insecure, they envy that, but they want to emulate that, and they love that, somebody who doesn't care what people think, somebody who doesn't care what anybody says about them, they're going to be them regardless. It don't matter if the cameras are on or off them. It doesn't matter. They're going to be them regardless. That's what people love. That's what people gravitate towards, So that's another reason why I love him, because to me, X was like a rebel, and he was just trying to change his ways at the end, and he couldn't escape it. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what that is to me, bro? It's the voice of the voiceless. That's essentially who they are. You know what I mean? And I never once looked at it like that. But that is a very, very great point, that at the fact that people do look at these loud, these audacious, these brash people, because it's like, I'm living through you. You know what I'm saying? I can't say what I want to say, but I live through you, and your music speaks to me and for me. I think that's a very, very great point, man. One thing that I also want to talk to you about, man, is Basquiat. I want to talk to you about that, man. It's doing really, really well. Proud of you for that, man. Really, really proud of you for that, man. Video is dope. You know what I'm saying? And I want to get into your head right now as far as what was going on with the song making, and then the video, and how you wanted to kind of combine and conflate those two together and make the piece of art. Because I'm telling you, man, like, it's up there with one of your biggest hits, if maybe not your biggest hit. You know what I mean? So, man, talk to me about that joint.
Thanks. What's crazy is the whole story behind Basquiat. I was writing. I remember I had a show. I was opening up for Little Soldier. I recall. I think it was Little Soldier, and I was like, "Yo, I wanna do a new song to give some people some, new to listen to." You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and then I came across the beat, so I started writing to it. And as I was writing to it, all I could think was, at the time I was listening to 444 a lot. I was listening to 444 and Holy Grail. I was listening to those two albums a lot. So I was already in that artistic art, flashy Basquiat, Warhol type of thing, like Leonardo da Vinci type of thing. That's where my whole mind was at. So I was just writing, and then when I was finished with the track, I was like, okay. I went to the studio, laid it down, and I felt like, I was like, yo, this one's a little different. This one's a little different, because like people loved Phoenix Flowers so much, and people love Lotus Bloom so much, to where it was like, people were trying to figure out how I was going to go from that, like from Phoenix Flower, where I was gonna go. Like, that's what people keep asking, like, when's the album dropping? And I'm like, bro, just know the album is basically done. Like it's just about, you know, right time, right placing of it, you know. But back to Basquiat, when Basquiat, when I was letting people hear it, they were like, yo, this is crazy, you know. But like they were like, yo, this is, you know what I'm saying? But it was kind of like one of those things where like, oh yeah, that's crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like a last long type of response to it, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, bet, I believe in this track, and I feel like this one's gonna be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So what I feel like is visuals really push the single. Visuals really bring a fan into the song itself. So when we made the video, that's what I was thinking of. That's like the whole video. That's exactly how I envisioned what the video would look like even before the video was done. And even when the video dropped, I knew, I was like, yo, this is gonna be the turning point of everything, because as soon as that drops, I have all these other joints that's gonna really just shake everything up. So it's just for me, Basquiat was just a turning point. Was the like Lotus Blooms was the turning point, but like this Basquiat was one of those things to like let people know, like, yo, there is a whole nother bag I ain't even got to yet. It's a whole nother bag that I'm in right now that y'all don't know that I'm in, but just know my hand is in the Duffy. You know what I'm saying? It's in the Duffy, like, you know, elbow in the Duffy right now. You know
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bro, that's what I love to hear, man. It's just like, you know what, I look at it kind of like this, man. You reached the top of one set of stairs,
Yeah.
and now you see that there's a whole nother top to get to, and then you're like, okay, cool, like Lotus Blooms got me here.
Right.
Now Basquiat's gonna get me there. But guess what? Once you get there, there's something else that's gonna get you even higher, man. And look, man, that's why I love and appreciate your mindset. It's like, we never settle in on this side. We're never gonna be content. You know what I'm saying? We'll be happy and we'll feel blessed about where we're at. But we also understand, yo, there's a whole nother level to tap into. There's always another level to tap into.
Always.
Longevity is the name of the game. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
You're still young, right? And you're finding your way. And you know, I can only imagine, man, like when you get to that peak of yours, that prime, you know, you look back on everything that you've been through, everything that you've had to learn, right? And it's really, really going to propel you and thrust you even more forward, you know, into where you're going to go, man. That's why I'm proud of you, man. And like, I really, truly am glad that you do have the mindset that you have, because like they say, man, anybody can get it. It's harder to maintain.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. And I appreciate you so much, because you've been there from the start. So like people like you have seen it differently from somebody who is just now, or even when they heard Phoenix, when they first listened to Phoenix Flower, you saw the beginning. Like, bro, I remember us driving in the car and I put on the shift for you. It was in the CD. We went out to Bridge Street that day. You know, you was in the car. I played the shift for you. You know what I'm saying? And I remember going from that to going on the trip to LA and then writing Adonis Now. You know, and that was coming out. Like you've been there through a lot of the experiences that I've been that I write about, that I have written about. You know, and so your perspective is a lot different from somebody who is a new listener and is just diving deep into it. So when I hear your feedback, it means a lot more to me, you know what I'm saying? Because you've seen it from its entirety, you know. That's a blessing in itself, you know.
Bro, there's this level of attachment that I have, and then there's this, you know, it's I become very sentimental when I listen to your projects, because just like you stated, man, for me personally, it always goes back to the embryonic stages, into that moment of when you were on that bus and we were coming, I think we were coming from Liberty, right?
Yeah.
And then again, man, like I think I could even try to like acknowledge where we were. I want to say we were towards in the middle, not necessarily in the far back and not in the front. I want to say towards the middle. You're just freestyling and you're just doing your thing, bro. And like, to me, it's like, hey, like even in hindsight, it's like, dude, that was his calling. And he knew it way back when. And he embraced it way back when. And he's maintained and stuck through with it. You also had something that you had posted. It said, quick success builds ego. Slow success builds character. You've been at this for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Even if you would have blow up tomorrow, I know that this was not overnight. It wouldn't last.
Facts, bro.
It's been a grind for you. Even if it takes another 5-6 years, it's still been a grind. If it happens 365 from now, it's still a grind. And so another question I want to ask you is up here, bro. How do you maintain that mental, especially when you know that you dope? Other people know that you dope. I know that you dope. How do you maintain the mental stability of understanding that, like, look, man, it ain't happened yet, but one day it's gonna happen?
It's one of those things where you just have to be able to be confident in what you're doing and know that, you know, okay, this is what I really want to do, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, bro, like I just love music. That's why I will forever make music, you know what I'm saying? But it's just about knowing, like, okay, so you have to be able to dream and then be realistic. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep going with it and to be able to believe in yourself, but still know that, okay, it might not happen today. It might not happen tomorrow, but I just love music. I love to make music. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But just know that I was able to make this music and be able to impact individuals, you know what I'm saying, all across the world. That's something I want to do. That's something I love doing, you know what I'm saying? And it's just about not psyching yourself out, not letting other people's, you know what I'm saying, doubts doubt you, you know what I'm saying? Never doubt yourself, just continue to do what you're doing and be realistic, you know what I'm saying? And set goals that you want to hit at this certain amount of time. Like if you want to hit this certain amount of views, this certain amount of streams, in this certain amount of time, set that goal for yourself and build that block. Like Will Smith said in the interview, bro, like in order to really build a wall, you don't just build the wall, bro. You set a brick, you know what I'm saying? And you keep building on that brick. And the next day you build a brick, and the next day you build a brick until you build a whole wall. And every brick you make sure it's the toughest, most stable brick ever. So that when you build that wall, nothing will shatter it, bro. So that's how I view what I'm doing with my music, bro.
Absolutely, bro. I love to hear that, man. I really do. I got 3 more questions for you, and then I'm gonna let you go and do your thing, man, and enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday. The first thing that I do want to ask you, man, is what project or what song, if you even want to get more specific, and it's solely up to you, are you either most proud of or is your absolute favorite?
Man, that's what song am I most proud of or is my favorite? Man, bro. That's a tough question, bro. Um I feel like my favorite song to this day that I've made will probably be Rose in the Concrete.
Hey, man. That's my all-time favorite record from you, dude.
Right,
Not even close, bro. That is my all-time favorite from you, dude. Yeah.
Rose in the Concrete, definitely Rose in the Concrete. That's out for sure. Because I feel like I was just in a space where it was just, you know what I'm saying, just real for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably my favorite.
Okay. I can't help but say it, bro. I get a God complexion every time I stare at my reflection. I think life's a bit, you waiting on me to pop the question. Yo, come on.
Man. Yeah, man. But that phone right in my hand, but don't know how to call. Yeah, I show my heart less, so now she think I'm heartless. I was really having a conversation through scenarios in my life and just reflecting on that from an outside perspective. And that's why I love that record. Even, besides the fact that the video was amazing, shout out to Alicia Keys, that sample was crazy.
No question. The next question I want to get to is one that I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, but I need you to get more specific if you can. New music, talk to me.
Yeah, man. So I already have a lineup of the new music that I'm actually about to drop. So, I have the Rose Petals video that's gonna be dropping tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Once it drops, then we're gonna move straight into the new music. I got a
Okay.
song called I Can't Breathe that's gonna be dropping at
Oh,
the end of this month. So look towards that. I also have another. I have a whole lineup of songs coming up. Just know by August you're gonna have a whole catalog of stuff. Might have an EP. You know what I'm saying? Might have an EP dropping. You know what I'm saying? So just know. I have a whole lineup of things that are just ready to drop for y'all, visuals and all
no
visuals.
question, no question. And then the last one I'm gonna ask you, man. I need your Mount Rushmore. I need your Mount Rushmore. It can either be of rappers, it could be of artists, but it's up to Jalen Kelly to decide who is on his Mount Rushmore.
This how many?
4.
Four Mount Rushmore. If I'm gonna do Mount Rushmore of all time, I'm gonna say my favorite rappers of all time, and
Okay.
I'm gonna say Nas. I'm gonna say Jay-Z. I'm gonna say J. Cole, and I'm gonna say
That last one tough.
this is my favorite, not the best. So
Tough.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Drake. I'm gonna say Drake.
Okay.
Say Drake. I'm gonna say Drake, and yeah, I'm gonna say Drake. Man.
Right.
Kendrick. Yeah, Kendrick. Bro, it shifts, bro. It shifts, bro. Don't sue me.
Hey, look, bro. Funny thing is, I was just having a conversation the other day with somebody because we were about to give like our top 10 rankings, and I was like, bro, it changes all the time. Like that's the beautiful thing about music. It's so
Bro.
subjective. It changes constantly. You know what I mean? And that's okay, bro. It should. It shouldn't be set in stone. Like you should be able to be flexible and be fluid when it comes to, your Mount Rushmores or like, all the greatest of all time and stuff like that. So
No, this is what I say. Like this is what I say when you about to say something that people might not agree with. I'd be like, yo, before you stick this fork in me, take this walk with me.
let them know something. Hey, I like that one. I like that one. I'm
Right.
gonna have to borrow that one sometime.
Yeah, facts.
But now, look, brother, again, man, I want to thank you, man. Again, first and foremost, for giving me your time. I know that you're a busy man, so thank you for that. I'm blessed to see your growth, man, and this is coming from somebody who's, I've watched you, man. I'm blessed to just watch the way that you go about your everyday walk and how you continue to just do what you love to do and how you put your energy, your effort, your passion into it, man. So, I've always told you, man, keep going. Hope that you never lose love for the art and passion for it, man. But again, keep going, man, because it's up to you how far you go.
It's up to me.
You were
Facts.
that talented, bro. It's up to you how far you go, and I know that the world can be yours, bro.
Word. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that.
Hey, man, it's a blessing, man. I want to do it. So again, man, I hope that you have a safe one, man. Tell the fam I said what up, man, and stay safe, all right, brother.
You as well. Love.
All right, much love, dude.